Wham, there we go. Let's get Facebook in here. We can start the show. And we got the wheels spinning. 1 and 2. All right. Welcome in. It is a little after 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I am Nik Kendell, joined by Carl Dumler. It's Tuesday evening. That means it's time for an episode of Building the Broncos. Carl, we're here the last Tuesday before the Broncos play a playoff game. Hopefully not the last one of those this season. But I am so excited. Bounce out the walls. Have the nerves started to set in yet? I mean, it's kind of the weirdness, like when the bye week happens, like, okay, not really in football mode anymore. I got to say, I'm not quite there yet. I thought I would be once the Bills were announced, or we officially knew we were going to play the Bills, but I don't quite have that, anxiousness yet that tends to precede a big game.
I'm sure Friday when I'm at work and being very distracted at the idea that the game is on Saturday, it's definitely going to hit at that moment. And I felt it a little bit today because my wife, she was trying to be sneaky and she's like, "Hey, what time's the game?" I don't know. She asked like 4 different questions about the game and making sure it's in Denver. And I'm like, "Why do you care if it's in Denver or not?" And she's like, "Do you know how much tickets are going for?" I'm like, "Okay, yes, you're trying to see if you can get me some tickets," which is, I mean, amazing, but over $500 a pop for the cheap seats. Probably not.
Yeah.
Little rich for my blood. I would love to go out there and be a part of that, but I think I'll be watching it at home with my kids for sure this week. But no, it felt a little bit nervous today. It's definitely going to amp up as the week goes.
Yeah, I was looking at tickets as well, and it's pretty expensive to go. So if you guys want to hook a brother up, Carl and I can go. No, it's just teasing, of course. And Scott's distracting me in the back with his Ninja, the cat, hanging out. So always good to see Kitty. Denver Luke in the house says, "I'm so excited. Denver is going to be rocking." Yeah, it's such a logistical, to get down there. But I almost wish I could go down to the stadium and just walk around beforehand, because I'm sure it's going to be amped. I have no animosity towards the Bills either, so I'm not really worried about, talking a little game at them and having some fun with them, because they seem to be in good spirits. So as long as I'm not inviting them over, break any tables, but appreciate Denver Luke coming in here. Denver is absolutely going to be rocking. And just a PSA, Sean Payton again today said the most important time for fans to get loud is when the opposing team is in their huddle. So I know it kind of drives me nuts, being one of the loud, annoying. Not annoying. Give me your tickets, invite me with. But loud fans there, people, sit there and like talk with each other when they're in the huddle, you better be on your feet, smacking the chair in front of you, being loud. So Peyton called it out. I think we can do a call to action for that one. A little PSA. We got Camden coming in, $20 super chat, flashing orange on here. Says, "What's up, Broncos country? Excited for the game against the Bills. Do you guys think Vance Joseph will have a plan to stop the Bills from attacking the middle of the field if the Bills run 12 personnel on offense? Their tight ends are really solid." He better, because heck, it might even be 13 personnel or 22, because the Bills are pretty darn decimated at wide receiver. They weren't good before the injuries happened at wide receiver. And one thing that's probably going to annoy Broncos fans leading up to April is that if you want a wide receiver, you're probably going to have to trade up ahead of the Bills, assuming Denver wins this week. But we'll see. But what do you think? Vance Joseph's plan to stop the middle of the field passing and the tight ends?
I think they're going to do fine. I mean, when you can go man coverage on the outside, I think you can load a couple more guys in the middle. I think you can have – I would be shocked if the Broncos didn't use a spy most of this game. Rush 4, have a fifth that's just kind of a spy waiting as they do the cage rush. And when Allen tries to step, to either side, that guy follows him. And that helps in the middle too, where you've got that guy that's just kind of hanging out, those short throws. He can be in those windows for you. So I think that'll be a decent plan if they go with that. And like I said, with the wide receivers being decimated, you can have PS2 on Shakir. And I know some people said, why don't you have him on one of the tight ends? You can maybe do that some, but Shakir is actually their number one guy. I think he had the most receiving yards.
I was going to say James Cook, but that's
okay. That's true. Okay. But wide receiver wise, he's their number one. I think he had close to 800 yards receiving this year. And I think that's where you say, hey, PS2, go be defensive player of the year, lock this guy up, and allow us to really do some other things on this other end. Allows you to have that, like I said, just a guy kind of hanging out, waiting to see what Josh Allen does, and just trying to hopefully close down some of those windows, because I really think this is one of those games. If the Bills are going to win, I mean, Josh Allen's going to have a Superman kind of game, and he's got to do some of that with his legs. And if you can limit that to, I'd say, 60 yards or less, I think you've got a really good chance of winning. If he gets over 60 yards, then you might be in some trouble.
You talked about man coverage. My concern with man coverage typically with the Josh Allen team is if your defensive backs of the line of scrimmage and you have an athletic quarterback out there, it can be a problem. You turn around and next thing you know, he's up on you 15 yards down the field. So Luckily, I'm not wishing injury to him, but like, fortunately for the Broncos, he is dinged up, knee, hand, foot,
head.
Well, something. Yeah, just he's multiple injuries. Sore, I think was the word that was used to describe him. So, yeah, I'm expecting Denver. Honestly, I want to be really aggressive on early downs, and I don't think they have the juice on the perimeter to really kill you with explosive plays down the field. So I'm sending a lot of early down blitzes. Now, I know that we've really important about the cage rush, but I think you need to hit the quarterback, and I think you need to attack the football. And those runs can also effectively be run blitzes as well. Those blitzes can effectively be run blitzes. And as I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Bills-Broncos game last season yet, or if, obviously got a lot of things going on. But last year, the Broncos were just bullied emphatically up front. So maybe a few extra bodies along the line of scrimmage if you're not afraid about the perimeter weapons burning you. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully you cannot hear my hands, shoulders, knees and toes, says Scott, according to Josh Allen's injury. So thank you so much, Camden, for the super chat. Michael Ronquillo also coming in. Good evening, Nik and Carl. I'm building the Broncos. Go Broncos. Gift member for 5 months. Man, that is amazing, Michael. We appreciate you. And our guy, Papa Bear, coming in here saying, good evening, Broncos country. Appreciate you so much, Papa Bear. I will say, though, we didn't have the record on here as well. So what would it be? We're Broncos finished, 14-3. So we're hoping for 17-3. If my math is correct. I was promised there'd be no math. Hopefully you can't hear my terrible two screaming downstairs. If you can, I will mute myself here. But we got C. Chang in the house. Can't wait. Let's go. We got Doug in the house. Now we're the favorites. I don't like that, but I still believe we're going to win. We have the better coach, and that's what it'll come down to. I haven't checked the line today, Carl, but I'm assuming the injuries at wide receiver for the Bills have flipped things, but I would imagine it's still probably a pick 'em. Maybe it's like a half-point favor for the Broncos, but I would have bet the lines are the plus 120 or minus 180 or whatever are really close for both teams on the whole.
Yeah, I think it really depends what site you go to, because there are still some that have Bills as the favorite, 1.5 points. There's a couple that have switched it now to Broncos being 1.5 point favorites. It really is pretty much that toss-up. And it all comes down to Josh Allen. Yeah. If you think Josh Allen's going to be superhuman, then yeah, you bid for the Bills. If you think the Broncos can contain him, then you definitely favor the Broncos, as they have the more complete roster, the more ways of beating you, and obviously being at home. And like I said, that place is going to be rocking. I've already had, I think it was Alex Smith talked about it earlier today, how much he hates the Broncos and hates going to Denver. And his least favorite thing is when he hears incomplete after he throws an incomplete pass. And I love that. I love that actually gets to the quarterbacks to have to hear that every single time that the ball hits the ground. And one person that doesn't hit the ground, Ernie May, is saying, go Broncos country only. Good to see you, Ernie, every single time coming in with that. And yeah, we'll try to only talk Broncos as much as we can today. But we're going to obviously talk some Bills because that's the upcoming opponent. And maybe talk a little bit about who maybe we'd rather them face an AFC championship, those kind of things. But no, it's great. And talking about record, let's just say 3-0 instead of having to go 17-3, 3-0. Keep it simple for us here. And I think we can go from there.
Absolutely. Well, the lines may be changing, but I think the Broncos have embraced Underdog, Carl, and we here at Mile High Huddle have really embraced Underdog as well.
That's right. The playoffs are here, guys, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. It's time to get off the bench and in the game. Head over to Underdog. By the way, it's not just football. Whether you're into basketball, hockey, or any sport in between, too, Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action all season long.
Exactly. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats such as rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and much more. Get your picks right and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
Guys, you can have so much fun playing on Underdog, and winning money while watching football, that's a touchdown, you guys. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code MHUDDLE to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHUDDLE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Heck yeah. Shout out the Underdog. Shout out to David Youngkin coming in here. Says we can't settle for field goals in the red zone like we did against the Chargers. I mean, the Chiefs and Jags as well. I know that Peyton said that he has not been holding things back, but I hope to some extent in the red zone, at least there's a few plays in his back pocket for must-have situations. And I know those were must-have games, but the games were never really in doubt. Also, I mean, the Jags game was, but also not a must-win. So we'll see. But good to see, David. Hope you're healthy. Appreciate you. Keith comes in and says, with another wide receiver gone, I think they'll match PS2 with a tight end. I think it's possible they'll match with a tight end, but I think it needs to be a tight end who's detached from the line of scrimmage. Like, do you want PS2 effectively having to like set an edge or come downhill against, a C gap with the way the Bills run the football? Jackson Hawes with his shoulder also, had that shoulder injury. Not me. Personally, not me. Maybe Hufanga coming down, but if the Kincaid or Dawson Knox are lined up in the slot, Shakir also effectively like a tight end wide receiver hybrid with how he blocks, then we can talk about Surtain guarding those guys. But am I having him line up as a weak side linebacker? Probably not. Personally, Keith.
Yeah. I think this could be a decent game for Barron to get some snaps in this one. I mean, his ability to shut down a tight end, he's been up and down, don't get me wrong, but he's had some really good games as well, getting in there on coverage on some bigger guys and showing his versatility to hold up in those kind of situations. So I could see him getting a few more snaps, especially with, we did find out today. Well, okay, we got two sides of information. Mike Kliss said that Brandon Jones maybe could be back for the Super Bowl, and Sean Payton pretty much said, yeah, he's done for the year. So pretty sure he's done. And that's where, again, Barron maybe getting some more snaps there, where you were talking about the game last year. I mean, I hate to bring this up of PJ Locke, but he was not good, and they were picking on him. They saw a weakness in his ability if he got into one-on-one coverage, and he got burned a couple times for some big plays. Now, I think we're a better team overall. I think we can cover up some of that a little bit more. But I think you're going to probably be looking for Locke to come down and help more with the run game if you can, having him try to play a little bit more zone if you can. And Barron, if you're getting into man coverage, that's the guy you want out there.
Yeah, you're really hoping at the same time the pieces that you added in this offseason, specifically Hufanga and Greenlaw, can help make it so Locke isn't as necessary, coming down and being that guy. And also hopefully a little bit more physicality up front. Like the last season, Cody Barton. I know some people love Cody Barton, but the leak yardage, the tackling, the strength, the physicality, not necessarily there from him, especially in comparison to Greenlaw and Stranad this season for, full transparency, the wrong word, but just how I see it. So yeah, we'll see how the Broncos match up. You talk about Barry, you talk about McMillan. I do wonder if this is a game that maybe, especially if they're playing more 12 and 13 personnel, if we see them actually lean into a little bit more actual base and taking that nickel off the field. I know that nickel is the new base or whatever, but I mean, in a classic 3-4, maybe just to get more mass on the field. I made a joke on Twitter. Some people said they won't do that. I'm like, it's obviously a joke. But like playing a bear front, I mean, they have a massive size advantage up front, as Chase mentions here, but bodies really can clog that up. Even if they are bigger and stronger along the line of scrimmage, two more guys than them, more guys than they can block, especially if they're not threatening you on the perimeter with athleticism or speed, which they just don't have at wide receiver. I think you can really load the box and dare them to beat you vertically.
Yeah, I think so. And this is where you're going to have to trust your cornerbacks, and you're going to have to live with the fact that there might be a couple of defensive pass interference calls that could be big in deciding the game.
Yeah.
But like you said, you don't want Cook or Allen being the guys that are beating you, especially in the run game. That's what happened last year with like you said, the bully game. And I do think the Broncos are obviously they're better up front this year. I think Wazirike, he is playing some of his best football I've ever seen him play at the end of this season. And he's got some good size length there that you could probably put in there for a few more snaps. DJ Jones, hopefully he can get in there. JFM being healthy, hopefully, and I think that was part of it last year. Broncos were just, you could tell at the end of the season, that defense was just gassed. They were done. And especially guys like Zach Allen, who had played close to like 90% of the snaps on defense. That didn't happen this year. No. These guys got a lot more rotation going for that defensive line. Now, I still worry about Bonitto. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he is very small for the edge position. And last year, the Bills targeted him over and over and over again. Now, having Hufanga in there, that can help, where he's coming down, clogging some of those lanes. And like I said, I think the linebacker core is much better this year with Sternad, with Singleton back, maybe Greenlaw. We don't know for sure if he's going to play or not. He is practicing. He was in a limited role today. But those guys offer a little bit more than, like you said, what we had last year with Cody Barton and those kind of guys. So I feel a little bit better about our ability to stop the run game in this one. And like I said, with the Bills being banged up, and we'll talk about that more as we go through here, but their weapons are just, I feel for them, honestly. You've got, Kincaid is banged up. He was limited today with the knee and calf injury. Of course, like I said, Josh Allen, head, foot, knee, and toes, all banged up right now. You've got Curtis Samuel that maybe could come off IR. I doubt it. And then Shavers went down with his knee injury. You had Gabe
Davis.
Yeah, Davis go down with an IR injury as well. So they're they're down to the last couple guys here. You got Shakir. I think they only got 3 healthy wide receivers on their roster right now. Now they're going to have a couple call-ups, of course. I'm sure that'll happen. But yeah, you have Brandon Cooks, who was available for all 32 teams and barely got picked up. He had a great game this last week, but still, it's hard for me to see him become a huge factor in this game, unless Josh Allen, like I said, is just doing superhuman things, which he can do. Yeah, it's the one big thing here is he could just go out there and have himself a 5 touchdown game, because that's who he is.
Yeah. Do you want to say hello to a lot more people in the chat here? Pearl Heater, hi, good to see you. Mr. Firm coming in here. FURMM says, injured or not, Josh Allen's a literal dog, and we should not underestimate this Bills team. Yeah, no doubt. They are talented. Daniel Berry Sports is in the house. Good to see you. Greg Smith, one of our guys, one of our dudes. Always appreciate you coming in, saying hello. We got Sue saying, hi, all excited for this game. Yeah, you should be. Unique Prepping. Oh, there's the dog. Unique Prepping in here. Let's go. Good to see you, Unique Prepping. We got Jordan Lewis coming in here saying, evening, everyone. Great to see you. 6763 Mark, good evening. We got 805 Broncos fans saying, hey, gang, visiting you, Wisconsin, and have all day Friday, 2-6 to spend in Denver. What are the okay, I'm trying to figure out how you, Wisconsin, matches with being in Denver. But what are the main Broncos activities we should do while there, and where to eat? I'm going to be honest, I'm still pretty new to Denver. I think I'm going to be a total nerd here, but like the Science Museum and the Botanical Center are really cool. and awesome. There's always good exhibits there, and you can always find some good places to eat around here. I really like where I live. We have a really good brunch spot called Four Friends that I like a lot. That's not downtown Denver, but it's good. And I really like Michi's Pizza as well. But I'm sure some people who in the chat in Denver for a bit could probably give you a little bit too. What do you think, Carl? I mean, Botanical Center is hard to beat, right?
Yeah. There's plenty of those kind of activities. There's some great parks there in Denver as well. I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to be the warmest weekend by any means. So maybe not going out in the mountains and hiking.
He said 2-6, so we have no idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around then is when the Golden Retriever Festival is in Golden, Colorado as well, which we're heading that way. So
there you go.
I think it actually is 2-6. Whatever the Saturday is before the Super Bowl, we're gonna drive over there and bring the Golden Retriever. So that sounds like a good time to me. But I'm biased. So
yeah, and Denver, like I said, there's lots of things you can look it up. Restaurants galore, whatever you like to your heart's content. I know my wife and I, we love. There's a couple Indian restaurants. When my wife could still handle spice, she blames my daughter. Once she got pregnant, all of a sudden her ability to handle spice went way down. But there's some really, really nice restaurants out there for that. Obviously we ate at Shanahan's. It's hard to get into, but if you said
Shanahan or Elway's.
Yeah. And you might run into a couple Bronco players, ex-players, because Broncos are going to be busy with the Super Bowl. They're not going to be in town. So plenty of options. Hope you have a good time with that. Of course, we got Boss Man coming in, Chad Jensen saying, smash that like button for my guys. Thank you very much. At least on my screen, it says 9 right now, which is Hufanga, which is great. But let's see if we can get up there to a little bit higher guy.
Yeah. Chad says go to the stadium. I mean, if the Broncos in the Super Bowl, I'm sure they'll have a big event watching the Super Bowl there. We got Brian coming in, says Josh Allen is hurting. Yes, he is. We got Jay coming in here, says let's go Broncos. Awesome to see you, Jay. Appreciate you coming in. And we have Justin coming in with a massive score prediction here. He says 49-35 Broncos. Justin, let's bet on this. I will take the under on the score in this one, just because I expect this game to be very low possession. I think this is going to be, given how the Broncos want to run the football, and I guess the Bills also, given what they did last season, I'm imagining I don't know if either team cracks 10 possessions. So if you're scoring 49 on 10 possessions, you're talking about like touchdowns almost every drive. So I think the over under is 46, maybe 46, 47 around there. Let's ask our friends at Underdog, but
46.5.
46.5. There you go. I'd take the under right now, just because I expect the game to be very slow, methodical, especially with how the Bills play defense. They want you to throw it underneath and run the football, but you can run the football on them. It's just how do you generate explosives at the end of the day? So we'll see. It's going to be a fascinating matchup for this Broncos team. And I saw some comments in here about not underestimating Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm also not underestimating their offensive line. I think people maybe forget about how much they just took it to the Broncos last season. I mean, that was like we're telling you what the play is and good luck stopping it, kind of, imposing your will. And their defense, while they are horrific at stopping the run, they're one of the best pass defenses in football. Now, some of that's the give and pull of football and scheme. But they also don't give up many explosives, play a lot of too high safety shells, and they tackle pretty well coming downhill in the pass game. So how can Denver generate some explosives? And to that point, to somebody else earlier, coming away with 7 in the red zone, not 3. Super, super important.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the last time the Broncos even scored 49 points. It's maybe been a little bit, but it'd be great if we saw that in this game. But like I said, I think the Broncos have been, especially over the last month or so, okay playing that short game, that we are going to take an 8-minute drive, take it down the field. Now, yes, they haven't finished with touchdowns. And like I said, I'm hoping that's because Sean Payton hasn't been putting his best red zone plays out there, because he's been saving a few of them. I do think that's probably part of it, because he has always been a very good red zone coach. And he's always had a few different plays. There's one, is either last year or the year before, that I remember to Troutman. And for a red zone play, there was nobody within 10 yards of him. I don't even know how that's possible in the red zone, but somehow Sean Payton drew it up. It was just a perfect call. And so I expect him to have a few more things up his sleeve for the playoffs compared to what he did in the regular season. And he's always done well, especially coming off a bye in the playoffs. I think he is 4-0 at this point. And so I think he does use this week, that previous week, to get himself ready with a few plays to really kind of surprise somebody. Now, sometimes he can get a little too cute. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves of his is like we're running down the field at the few times that we've had a really good run game. And then we get to the red zone and all of a sudden it's like, hey, let's try a triple reverse and have a wide receiver throw for a touchdown, and ends very poorly. So anyway, wanted to keep going down the chat. And of course, got Shannon coming in with the 1999 super. Thank you very much for that. Saying good evening. Looking forward to a great matchup this weekend. Hoping the Denver D proves to be Superman's kryptonite. Think it will come down to the last quarter. By the way, Nick, your golden is adorable. And yeah, your dog knows that too. So
on cue, he's like, "Oh, I'm too beautiful for this." I don't know. He's a good boy. He's so naughty. God, I love him, but he's like, he knows stuff he shouldn't have. So he picks up like the baby toy or mulch outside, and then he'll grab a tennis ball. So like he'll have the thing that he should have front and center. So that's all you see. It's like, why are you acting like you are? And then you pull out the tennis ball. It's like, oh, you have a baby toy. Like, God bless you. Yeah, he's smart, comes with naughtiness with some of those dogs. Yeah, we got, thank you so much, Shannon. Appreciate you. Yeah, hoping that the Denver D proves to be Superman's kryptonite. And coming back to that point again, Carl, the Broncos stopping the run and sending bodies. The last game, the Broncos superpower this season, other than Sean Payton play calling and Bo Nix avoiding sacks, but their superpower is their pass rush, right? Like all-time franchise record sacks. But you really can't pin your ears back and rush the passer effectively if it's constantly 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1. So I think there has to be a little bit of aggressiveness from this Broncos team on defense with their pressure coverage and everything like that, just to force some 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs, because the Bills were just constantly ahead of the sticks against the Broncos last season. And when you do that, you completely nullify the pass rush and the speed that you have on the edge. So I'm looking for them maybe to replicate a little bit what they did earlier last season and send the 1st and 2nd down blitzes at a very high rate.
I'm fine with it. Like I said, I don't want to see the death by 1,000 cuts like we saw last year. And the play that sticks in my head, I think it was Gabe Davis, where he stepped over PS2 at one point. He'd caught a pass right down at like the 2-yard line and just stepped over PS2 and like kind of looked down at him and like, yep, we're dominating you right now. And like I said, they played bully ball. They knew you can't stop us. Even if you know what's coming, you can't stop us. And you really hope the Broncos are living off of that and trying to use that to motivate them this year. And it sounds like the players have been talking about that we have not forgotten what happened last year. And the great thing also is this is a different Broncos team, much better than they were last year, more prepared, more ready for the big moment. I think there were times last year that especially younger guys, it just looked like they were almost a little too hyped up. And we saw some bad drops that weren't happening earlier in the year. Even a couple of our veterans, like Sutton, he had a couple of really bad drops in that game. I think the Broncos had a 23% drop rate in that game, which is just crazy talk when we're looking at on target passes and just how many drives were stopped because third down plays, perfect pass, guy drops it. So I think this year the nerves won't quite be there as much. I mean, maybe because of the home crowd and how exciting that's going to be, you're going to see them a little bit amped up early in the game. But I think they'll settle into it pretty well. And like I said, I think that defensive line, after getting embarrassed last year, I think they're going to be more than ready to take on this challenge. And having Hufanga, I mean, that really is such a difference maker, his ability to come down and make negative plays in the run game. We did not have that last year.
No, and again, so cliche and broken record for me, but it's probably going to come down to turnovers. at the end of the day. This Bills team, credit to Sean McDermott. I don't think it's a very talented defense other than AJ Epinesa, because he's the best player ever because he went to Iowa. But other than AJ Epinesa, and really they have some good guys, but it's just not an overly talented defense. But man, McDermott puts them in a good situation to make plays on the football with their bracket coverage and eyes on the football. And sometimes it's a little fluky, right? I think in that Trevor Lawrence, the Jags game, some of them, tipped in the air, the Jags come down with it, but sometimes you make your own breaks too. And in a one single game elimination, that can change it. So really hoping that the Broncos can take the freaking ball away in this one, and Bo Nix protects the football. You have to be patient in this kind of game, not hunting too much if they are giving it underneath. I wish Denver had a little bit more after the catch playmaking on the roster than they have, but this is one where there should be some space. Can you make a guy miss, and can you protect the football? That is huge. I know Sean Payton's emphasized it a lot. There's only been like one team in the last 30 years that won the Super Bowl with a positive turnover differential in the postseason. So that's part of, be better being lucky than good sometimes as well, because turnovers are pretty volatile, but got to protect the ball. You got to take the ball away. And I think that starts with, honestly, I think it starts with the aggressiveness from the defense overall. I think they need to hunt in this one. I feel like they played a little bit more passive here the last few weeks. There's nothing to be afraid of on the perimeter here. And if you play that way, every once in a while, there's a chance they'll burn you, tip your cap. But I think I'm hunting havoc, and I'm hunting splash plays from the defense in this one.
I think Sean Payton said today that they looked it up, and the Bills have only won one game over the last few years where they lost the turnover battle. So, like I said, that's a big thing. If you can get a couple turnovers and really turn things around, and you can protect the football, that's how you go win a game like this. And you're hoping maybe this home crowd getting them a little fired up, guys running the wrong route, things getting a little confused out there. And this is why, like you said earlier, crowd getting crazy during the huddle, where maybe a few words get missed and the player's like, oh, I thought I heard this. And that could really make a difference here. So that's why it's great to have the home field advantage compared to last year being on the road in Buffalo. So it should be a really good game. I don't expect this to be a blowout either way. I think it is going to come down to the fourth quarter, as somebody said earlier in the chat. And it'd make me nervous. Josh Allen is very good in pressure situations. Now his team has let him down, unfortunately. You think back to that Chiefs game where they had the lead with 13 seconds left or whatever, 16 seconds. And somehow the Chiefs went down and scored and won the game. And even last week, I think of the fact that they scored. It's like, oh crap, there's over a minute left on the clock. Now, yes, the turnover happened, but it was kind of one of those, maybe you should have knelt one down. I don't know. That's the chance you take. You take touchdowns when you can get them, but still leaving a team with a minute and 5, whatever they had left. That is playing with fire there. But Broncos this year in those fourth quarter situations, no team is more prepared for those kind of moments than the Broncos right now. And so it's going to be a fun one for sure. And hopefully our team, like you said, comes out on top. The good guys win. But now I'm starting to get nervous, man. As we're talking about this, I'm starting to actually get nervous about it. But it is. It's just because it's been so long since we've had such a big game and an opportunity to go out there and win like this. And this is, the AFC is just so wide open right now. Alex Smith earlier was talking that he thinks the Broncos are the 4th worst team left in the AFC. It means he thinks we're the worst team left. We'll see.
Yeah. Worst team got the number 1 seed. I guess that's not a bad worst team to be, but not the worst. Michael Ronquillo coming in, gifted 10 Mile High Huddle memberships. Thank you so much, Michael. Hope you're doing well down there in sunny Tucson. And one thing we haven't even talked about at all, Carl, I've been really focused on the Bills offense versus the Broncos defense, because that's obviously the marquee matchup in this one. And we've talked a bit about Bo Nix in the pass game, but Broncos running the football. Are they actually good enough as a rushing offense? So subtract the running back rushing offense, may I add. So subtract the Bo Nix scrambles, which have been a big part of the offense here. And I like that as a get out of jail free card, but it's not the basis of an offense. At least I wouldn't want it to be. Like, you're going to get yourself TKO if you are running around in this league as a quarterback. But Can the Broncos running back run game be potent enough to take advantage of the personnel the Bills have and the style of defense that they play? I mean, that is going to be key. Can the Broncos actually do to the Bills what the Bills did to the Broncos last season up front? I don't know. The Broncos getting a bye week, the Bills playing a very physical Jags team last week, and Denver also, let's just call it as it is, getting their butts handed to them by the Chargers in that Week 18 game. I'm hoping that they come out with something to prove, and I think this game, it's mainly going to be the Broncos defense, I think, versus Josh Allen, but the Broncos run game. Can we get a little bit more down-to-down execution, and can we punish them out of their too high safety shells where they have to start to cheat and put more bodies in that box? I don't know. I don't think we've seen that without J.K. Dobbins, but this is the time when you need it.
Are you starting McLaughlin in this game or Harvey?
I don't think it matters. You probably give one of them the first drive, the next one, the second drive, obviously probably not putting in McLaughlin and the third down stuff. Unfortunately, we have to sprinkle in Bidet there. I'll never get that right because the draft stuff is just in my head as Beatty. But I think you probably kind of like the first 4 drives. Granted, at that point, the game might be halfway over with how these teams play. But I want to kind of get a feeling out early on, and then you go with the hot hand. That's probably the move overall. And McLaughlin has just been so much more efficient than Harvey has. But Harvey brings a lot more of the explosiveness and the pass game ability, right. And he's a better pass protector at this point than McLaughlin is too. So we'll see. But man, I'm just turning into an old ball coach, Carl. Stop the run and run the ball, and get yourself in positive game scripts and situations down to down, and you can take advantage of this team. But if they're leaning on you with their offensive line, if you're constantly 3rd and long, not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for turnovers and getting a game out of hand.
Yeah. Thankfully, their front 7 is actually pretty banged up too.
Yeah.
When we're talking about wide receiver injuries, they've got, I'm trying to remember who all is on the Epinesa is on there. They've got Milano is on there. Bernard at the linebacker position, Rizzo at the defensive end position. So you've got a couple guys banged up for them in that front 7 that you can maybe push them around when they're not quite ready. And hopefully by the 4th quarter, you've got them worn down. And that's where Denver Luke coming in with the 199 saying, I feel like we're the villain that will win. Yeah. Hopefully we just take their soul by the 4th quarter and your soul is mine. Back to the Mortal Kombat days of my old video game days. Yeah. And hopefully that's the case for the Broncos, because that would be great. I don't mind being the villain. I don't see exactly how we could be the villain since we have been kind of nothing for a while. And usually by then everybody's like, hey, this team, it's great to see them finally coming up. And then you go win a couple seasons and people are going, oh, wow, I hate you again. And I will say, like I said earlier, Bills fans, I got to give them credit. They are some like the nicest people out there. You try to start an argument, you try to start this, hey, smack talk with them, and they're like, oh, thanks. Yep, it'll be a good game. It's like, no, come on, get into this a little bit. I'm used to the Chiefs and Raiders fans. And by the way, have you seen the Raiders fans? They're all out there singing the Fernando song.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. Yeah. They're putting on like whole concerts in Vegas just singing that song because they think they're getting Fernando in the draft.
Probably
and part of me is like, probably. But part of me would be really funny if he decided, oh, I'm going to go back for another year.
Can he even go back for another year?
Yeah.
He does have another year eligibility?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good I like Mendoza, and he's such a weird culture fit with the Raiders, but maybe that's what they need. Well, so we'll see how that plays out. But no draft talk, Carl. We're a ways off, even though this draft looks not very good. So maybe trade those picks for a veteran. Danny's comes in and says, this game will depend on defense. Defense wins championships. If they can keep this close and stop Allen from running, we win the game. I think so too. I mean, Allen, he's going to make some plays. I think it's super important though to body blow in this one. Hit him a lot. I'm leaning into the aggressive play. Now, what is scary about that is who's their offensive? Joe Brady. I almost said Brady Cook. Joe Brady might, if you are being really aggressive, tight end screen Cook in the screen game. Luckily, Ty Johnson's out of this one. He's a really good pass catching back. But I think you live with it a little bit. Typically, I'm, stop the explosive plays. You're going to win more often than not. But there's something to be said about getting sacks and really taking it to them up front. So, and especially with the fans are going to be so stoked and electric in there, hopefully being loud in the huddle. Again, PSA from Sean. I'm going to share that one loud and clear. But again, I want to dictate up front. And I feel like Denver has not done that as much since the bye week.
Right. And like I said, with Josh Allen banged up, test that a little bit, and like I said, if he's got a couple bruised ribs, get a couple hits. I'm not trying to say injure the guy. I'm just saying like that's where you get a guy that's maybe getting it out a little bit quicker than he should be, maybe overthrowing a couple passes because he's afraid of getting that extra hit, whatever it may be. I mean, Josh Allen, he's a tough guy. I'm not trying to question his toughness by any means, but you watch the Chargers game, Justin Herbert, halfway through that game, that guy looked scared. His eyes were going further and further down. Let's keep everything short if we can. And I've had some Patriot fans who are like, oh man, our defense dominated that game. And they were good. But there were many plays that wide receivers were wide open. And Justin Herbert just didn't see him because that front seven had gotten to him. So, I mean, again, that's defense doing great. But I'm just saying there were plays to be had. They just missed them. And that's what you hope for in this game is that maybe, like I said, you get aggressive, especially early in the game, and you hopefully get them to where he maybe makes a bad decision later in the game or a big fumble happens. It's great. Strip sack in week 18. Let's keep that going, Bonitto. Let's see one per game here in the playoffs. That'd be great. Orange Crush coming and saying, hopefully Bonitto brings down Allen. If he gets to him, he's tough to bring down. That's the other thing. There's so many times where you can get to him, but he'll just kind of push the guy off to the side or step to the side. And what you thought was going to be a big play for the defense turns into a big play for the offense. So you got to be disciplined. You got to break down. You can't just hit the guy. You got to actually wrap up, take him down to the ground and rally. Lots and lots of guys get to the ball.
Yeah. No leak yardage either. Orange Crushed. Yeah. Bonitto brings down Allen. If he gets to him, he's tough to bring down. And I'm hoping for a Zach Allen masterclass. I mean, shout out to Zach Allen, first team All-Pro. And if you can do well enough on those early downs to get that interior pressure, they're big on the inside, but they're also a little heavy footed, especially Torrance there at right guard. So play the games. I'll be really curious to see what Vance Joseph has dialed up here. I'm not worried at all about him taking virtual 1 hour interviews in the bye week for the Broncos because players weren't even in the facility either. We got Justin coming in here. Good to see you, Justin, over on Facebook. Click the thumbs up if you guys are joining us today. And Carl, I'm going to get a few questions here before we wrap it on up. Who are you predicting to be your X factor in this matchup for the Broncos on, let's do offense and defense. So offensively, I'm going to go first. I'm going to steal it. And I'm also going to cheat immediately by setting the rules of the game. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to cheat. My X factor in this one is going to be Marvin Mims Jr. I think he is somebody that he's volatile, obviously week to week, but I would love to see him get implemented a little bit more into the run game in some design. Maybe he takes a sweep, maybe it's a screen, something like that. So you get them going horizontally, not just only taking it to the Bills as well. And also the fact that he can obviously create some explosive plays down the field. That's key. And then the special teams aspect. So that's where I'm cheating. I'm also lumping in special teams, but I think he is really a massive X factor in this game. We've seen, I don't think he's ever going to be a great wide receiver, but if he can hit, 2 catches for 50 yards and have a couple big returns and a couple runs as well, I'd be way about it. So I think he's a massive one in this game as a really a chance to tilt it toward the Broncos' favor.
Yeah. And I mean, we saw with the Jacksonville game, they weren't having great success in the run game actually up the middle against the Bills. It was getting to the edge. Mm-hmm. And Marvin Mims, that's what you're doing. You're getting him on those sweeps. Maybe you got him in shotgun next to the quarterback, quick out, whatever, or quick screen pass to him. And because the Bills defense, you're right, they're disciplined. They've got a good secondary, but they are slow. Like by NFL standards, I should say. They're faster than you and me. But they are one of the slower defenses, in my opinion. And so I think you can get to the edge. You can beat them. I will go. I'll go surprising one here. I'll go Ben Powers.
Wow. Okay. Say more.
Just because him coming back, and like I said, this run game, he has not been great so far in his return. I'm hoping maybe these 2 weeks got him a little bit more healthy, got some of his strength, some of his confidence back. And I mean, it's really kind of those interior three guys, but I'll just say Ben Powers to kind of clue it off. And I think if those guys can dominate in the middle and really get a nice push going for you, or if you are getting, sideline to sideline, getting to that second level and giving the running back some easy lanes. I mean, you watch that Jacksonville game. There are so many stats out there that show Jacksonville dominated that game. Mm-hmm. And Justin, thank you again for the stars. But there were lanes that were 5-6 yards wide open for the running back to run through. I think Harvey can see that. And if you give him a little bit of space and get him up to full speed, good luck out there. And so
I could be wrong on this one. Harvey has the longest time behind the line of scrimmage of any qualifying running back in football.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second
Not good still.
Right. And that's why I'm saying if you can get him a couple really nice lanes to run through, then you're talking about those explosive run plays. That'll be huge. And we got another person coming in with their choice. We got Michael Ronquillo with the $5 super. Thank you again, Michael, for all the different support, the memberships today. You've been an all-star. Saying my X factor on offense is wide receiver Pat Bryant, and defense X factor is Talanoga Hufanga. Great choices. I was probably going to go Hufanga, but now you've taken it, Michael, so I got to choose somebody else here. But no, I do. I think Hufanga is going to be a really big one. He's that guy that I think there's going to be a couple times he gets his hand on the ball, whether it's through causing a fumble, an interception opportunity. And if he can come down with those, I know he hasn't done it this season, but those could be what changed the game here for the Broncos. And so like I said, that interior offensive line, they were just so bad in that last game against the Chargers. Like you said earlier, they've got to take that personal and say, we're not letting this happen again. We're not having our quarterback have to run for his life because we missed a wide open guy coming at him. And defensively, the other side, since Hufanga is taken, I mean, Zach Allen's a pretty easy choice, but I'll go John Franklin Myers.
Back in practice.
Because I do think that the Bills are really going to key in on Zach Allen, and they're going to try to dare anybody else to beat him. And John Franklin Myers, he has taken advantage of that big time this year. If he can do that again in this one and just be a huge dominating factor. And again, he's another guy playing for a contract. This biggest stage that there is, other than, make it further in playoffs, the stage gets bigger. But all eyes are going to be on this game. Really big opportunity for him to go add to his already great resume and show, hey, I'm a big time player in the biggest moments. Pay me big time money. So I think he could be a real X factor because I think he's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, that's a good call. Somebody in the chat mentioned 21 needs to have a big game. I believe that's Riley Moss. So he could be an X factor in the negatives, right? Like Bills are struggling, but then there's a 50-yard pass interference. Maybe it shouldn't have been called. Hopefully we kind of have the effect that typically happens in the playoffs where across all sports, referees kind of swallow their whistles a little bit and let the guys play. But we'll see. What I'm going to go with here, and just for like poetic justice, is Ellis. I know that he's been the backup, but Cooper's been struggling of late. I think he only has half a sack since the bye week, and I feel like he's been cheating on his run assignment as well. And Jonah brings a little bit more physicality, I believe, when he plays. And last season he got knocked out pretty early from a puller on the shoulder. It ended his season, and I think you got to be able to send in waves. So the key, actually, scratch that. I'm changing my answer because I can't go the whole first 30 minutes of the episode and then talk about that. The X factor, I think, is DJ Jones. They signed him that big contract. You brought him back. They are big on the inside. You're not, but DJ Jones is hard to move. And when he makes plays and havoc in the backfield against the run game, the pass rush feeds off of it. So I'm going to go with DJ Jones on this one. Was not amazing last season in the postseason that I recall in that Bills game. But the key to the game is making it'd be 3rd and long for Josh Allen. So I can't not pick one of those nose tackles. Considered Roach, Wazirike as well, but those big guys up front, I mean, the Bills, I think each of their offensive linemen is like 330 pounds. They need to show up, and they need to not be moved and free up their guys up front as much as possible. So the other X factor in here, Sue brings attention to it, the fans. Big change there with the Broncos being at home. Really excited for this game. 2:30 pick'em game for the Broncos, 2:30 Central. And shout out to the fans as well, going to be there. It should be a heck of a time, and what an opportunity for the Broncos as well. Oh, man. Turnovers. Can you protect the ball? Can you take it away? You can win a lot of freaking football games that way. So hopefully Denver can figure out how to do that in this game. Carl, any final thoughts before I read us on out of here with what hopefully is not, which will not be our last Tuesday show covering this Broncos team?
I feel actually, I'm nervous, obviously. Anything can happen in these kind of games. And especially when you got maybe the best player in football on the opposite side, they're always going to have a chance in every game.
Myles Garrett's over there? Sorry.
Fine. He gets in the conversation. But, okay, maybe biggest impact in the sense of
most valuable player.
Yeah, most valuable. There we go. But at the same time, I really do feel good about the Broncos. I feel good about where they're at. I think that they worked very hard to correct the issues that they had last year, and bringing in guys like Greenlaw and Hufanga. I think the one thing that makes me a little bit nervous, like I said, the run game, but also our weapons just coming down with the football when there are good passes, and not having drives stall because of stupid things like that. But I feel really good about our chances in this one. I don't think the Bills is as bad of a matchup as some people are making it out to be. Now, they've got that great offensive line. Like I said, they can play bully ball. And if that happens, probably end of our season. But I think the Broncos are going to be rested. I think these guys are ready to go hit somebody. And I just think that defensive line, that defensive front is really going to show up big in this one.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, I know everybody loves your weapons and everything like that, but football's a game played along the line of scrimmage. And last season, the Broncos did not win that matchup when they did it almost every other game leading up to that. We'll see what they can do there, and we'll see if we can protect the ball. So appreciate everybody coming in here, hanging out with us today. We got Michael Ronquillo, of course, Denver Luke, Camden coming in, $20. Appreciate you so much. Papa Bear as well. Shannon Mills. Love the name Shannon, of course. And Justin coming in here over on Facebook as well. You guys are rocking and killing it today. Make sure you guys are following Carl and I on Twitter, X, whatever the heck it goes by. Carl's at Carl Dumler, MHH. I'm at Nik Kendell, MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle over there. Check us out on Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. And as that ticker says there underneath, if you're joining us today or later after the fact, find us on YouTube, Mile High Huddle. Subscribe to Mile High Huddle on YouTube. Like this show. And share on your social media platforms. Word of mouth, any of that good stuff. Had somebody actually, I don't know if I told you this yet, Carl. 2 weekends ago, I went to Costco and somebody came up to me. Nik Kendell. I'm like, who the heck are you? He's like, listen to the show. So shout out to you, Michael. I'm really sorry if I forgot your name, Mike. That was 2 weeks ago, and I have dad brain. I've been solo parenting here until last night. So we're surviving. Broncos are going to survive. Appreciate everyone coming in here. Shout out to Scott in the back as well, helping us out. And yeah, love you guys. Hopefully it'll be, we got Richie Rich also. Good to see you, Richie Rich. Going to be interesting. Heck yeah, it is. Carl, one more thing. Final score prediction.
I will go Broncos 24, Bills 20.
Man, I'm going to go Broncos 17, Bills 16. Tight, you know what, coming down there. But, oh, man, I got some great hairs just saying that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll be sweating bullets. I won't stop shaking for about a week if that's what the game looks like.
Oh, man. Yeah, 17-16. It's going to be a good one. Appreciate everyone. It's been a hell of a season. We'll see you next Tuesday. Go Broncos.